Welcome back, everyone. Going to the second half here, Court of Swords of the new year. Adam, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's unhang this cliffhanger. So, Max, what have you decided? We see you embrace Vani. You feel, and I don't know how much this is like. You can decide how much Berg knows that he's doing this, or whether it's just like a feeling. But that moment appears. What have you decided?
Yeah, Berg is he just, like I said, I get the way I described it. He wants to give her some sort of like energy or something if he can. He's just attempting to do it, and he does. Yeah. Berg chooses to give this to her. She's helped him in a big way, and there's many reasons I'll talk about it in the post show.
Yeah.
He lets go of some energy and gives it to her.
You put your enormous barbarian arms around her and hug her probably slightly more firmly than she's ever been hugged before because you have like 27 strength or whatever. So nice firm embrace. You hold her close to you. She feels like a wet noodle. Like she is at first completely weak. Like she feels very, very fragile in your arms. But both of you feel a transfer. As if something small, some sliver of your existence is broken off and becomes a part of her. And when you finish, when you break the embrace, you get to physically watch the color like return to her skin. She reaches up and she touches her sternum, like up here, I guess like close to the hollow of her throat, and you can see that right there is a embedded in her skin. It wasn't there before. There is a gem or a crystal of some kind. It looks like it's little. It's like the size of a $50 or whatever. And it's like a reddish, like kind of opal looking gemstone. And she touches it and she looks at you, and you don't have to explain what happened. She knows. You both know what just occurred. And you watch like her hair start to kind of return to its normal color. Her eyes start to brighten. And she just says, you didn't have to.
I know.
She hugs you again before you can even say anything else. And this is like, she feels alive again. She feels like warm and like fleshy instead of the weird hollow thing you were hugging before. And she throws her arms around you, and she doesn't say thank you, but you can feel the gratitude. So she squeezes you to her as best she can because she's little, and then she looks and she smiles. She steps back and she smiles at you and she says, I don't know what to say. I have things I need to see to. I'm not okay. And she you can see her like not being able to figure out how to like express what she's thinking. So she bails.
Berg
she's just like, cool, I'm going to go.
Just nods before she bails. Yeah. And he just like cracks a smile.
So here's the thing. And I want to know if we see it or what we see. I'm going to give you a feeling and you tell me how you respond to it. Equally as much strength as she gained, you feel suddenly like you lost. Do we see Berg like stumble or stagger at all? Do we see you like give the facade up when she can't see you? Or do you just like tough through it? You suddenly feel like the floor, you could sleep for a week all of a sudden.
Yeah. I think Berg, he like waits until she like turns around and leaves. And then he turns around and takes a step. And the first step, like his knee buckles for a second. And it takes him a second to just kind of realign to where his energy levels are at. And you see him like get it back, and then he's like, okay. And then he's fine.
Like
then he's mobile as he always is.
He has to take a knee for a second and just be like, okay. All right. And then then you can get up. Okay, cool. All right. So while
as he's walking away, he's just cracking a big smile.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Good. Well, take like 5 levels of exhaustion, I guess, and then we'll just carry on.
Okay.
I want you to be exhausted for as much of 2020 as we can manage. So meanwhile, Mihari, Ramus, and 10 Pillars, you were in the audience chamber, or have you left? Are you somewhere else? When we cut back to you, where do we see the group of you?
Probably huddled somewhere in a room, figuring out like
you've gone to another.
Like
Yeah,
how we're gonna
okay.
go talk to Bahath and what we're gonna say.
It seems like traditionally this has been 10 Pillars room. Like that's just the hangout room where everybody tends to go. So yeah, let's say that. So
Sure.
10 Pillars, they're in your room. Your like trunk of clothes, your pack of clothes is there. The room smells not unpleasantly of expensive pipe tobacco. And and so the three of you are conspiratorially off in this side room, and we fade in. What are you talking about when we tune back in? And then Max, have Berg come in whenever you feel like. Give them a little bit, and then Berg can come in.
I think like maybe we just jump into Mihari. It's just the conversation's starting, and so what do we say? How do we get Bahath on our side? We can't command it. Ramus already tried that.
Well, what are its weaknesses? Pride is something I had to notice right away. Very prideful creature.
It's new to this world. It doesn't remember much of its
True.
former life. But maybe it doesn't need to move forward. It has its goal. We can.
But that might be a weakness. Is the goal is unspecified. A goal that's just to burn is not. We can take advantage of that. We can tell the fire where to burn, or persuade the fire where to burn, or at least where to burn first.
Perhaps its biggest weakness would be not knowing the strength that grave dirt possesses and what's out there. So
It's an interesting situation for you, Mihari, because you know simply by fact of having the sword that your people at some point in the past like outsmarted or tricked or fucked over Bahath in some way to get him to turn into a sword, but you can't remember the story of that sword because it's gone. It's lost to the void.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
That'd be so annoying.
Where he was leading to. So maybe like a couple, I don't know. We kind of throw ideas out there, then Mihari interjects and 10 Pillars, can I ask you a favor? It'll seem a little bit random, but I promise it'll make sense if you allow me to explain it.
Of course.
You've probably heard me mention many times that I've forgotten what happened in the past when I wielded Bahath. You seem resourceful. You've proven yourself in the past. There's no question of that. Are there ways for you to find out legend and lore from years past of what I did, what my tribe did to Bahath? Might become useful information if we are to harness whatever it is moving forward.
And Adam, feel free to correct me if what I'm about to say is wrong. Well, I'm well versed on the histories and religions of the world, but the goings on of a minor, pardon me, but a smaller faction of any sort of religion. I mean, I don't believe your people wrote much down, unless I'm mistaken about that.
I think we had talked in a long previous episode, very, very briefly, JP, about your people's. They have like like an oral tradition.
Yeah, it's oral tradition.
But Giant is there is a distinct written language, but it's not. Yeah, you don't use it to write. I think Giant is a distinct language. You don't write in it anymore, but it used to be written in. Yeah, I think that's where we landed.
So I don't think I'm the right person to ask about this. I think if you want to know something that you knew previously, I think Ramus Krill might be your best bet. He might be able to delve into your mind or something of that nature. I'm not well versed in magic, but he is powerful, as he will tell you himself.
This sounds like you need magic. And I used
I love
thaumaturgy to make the
So,
room
Ramus,
like
do you-
thicker and rumble
I
a
was gonna
little
say,
bit.
Ramus, do you want to make a sleight of hand check to like pull a rabbit out of your hat now, or like sounds like you need magic? Boom, flowers just pop out of.
Bird comes out of nowhere.
I mean- Wait, so hold on. Does that mean in this situation, Berg is the one that wears the sequin dress and gets sawed in half on stage?
That's right.
I think that's how that goes. Yeah.
Bird comes into frame
Yeah.
wearing a real sparkly, stunning outfit.
I'm the one who
Huge
comes
white
up with the tricks.
gloves.
Ramus performs them. Berg is the lovely assistant. And Maharib is our plant in the audience to start the clapping first.
If we ever needed just a
Yeah.
little interpretation
Clap.
fan art, right now, this is your material. Ramus
Yeah.
the magician, Berg the sexy assistant.
Yep.
I like it. I like it. Did you have any particular magic in mind, oh Ramus Krill?
Oh yes, I have the perfect spell.
I thought you might.
Yes, a spell called Legend Lore. I'll need some materials, but I can find all the information about a place, a person, or an object.
We
Nice.
need incense worth 250, 4 ivory
I
strips.
assume with our massive treasure pile that we could probably find something like that in there.
Yes, if you just want to cut 250 gold off of your massive treasure pile, you can buy some incense off of somebody here. It's fine.
Well, I gave up my money to split, I think, between the three of you. I think you guys
Yes.
took 5K each, if I recall. Then we gave 10K to the embers. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, like
Yeah,
Dan,
something
if you
like
just want to cross 250 off of yours, then
Yeah,
you
I'll
can
mark it off.
you can say you
We
have
didn't.
that. Yep,
we didn't
that's
know
fine.
at the time that we were funding this world's equivalent
Yeah.
of the first order. But
Right. It happened.
Yeah, right. Hey, we gave 10,000 gold to these. It says here,
We will
fire
burn
terrorists.
everything.
Oh, man.
Now that we have the funding required.
We'll use this 10,000 gold to build some kind of Death Star. Yeah, I'm into it. Good.
What did we each? I'm working off a new character sheet. What did we each get from that?
I want to say it was
From the hall?
each, the three of you got 5,000, and then we gave
Yeah.
10,000 to the embers.
yeah, I think that sounds right.
And then
Yep.
someone refused theirs, didn't they?
I refused mine, yeah.
It was Mihari.
That's
Okay,
why
yep.
that's why the embers got 10K and not 5K. Because we found 25,000.
No, it was 30K total.
It was 30
We gave them
originally.
10.
So we gave them 15 then
I
total.
was gonna say because I thought I had 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We funded them more. Great. The war effort can go for a very long time.
So
I didn't know at the time.
I
I
have
know
10.
no one did.
K.
You might say hindsight's 2020.
Jesus.
I'll see you guys later.
That's-
So yeah, Ramus, if you want to spend, yeah, because I guess it's technically you buy 4 ivory strips worth 50 gold each and the incense, and then the incense goes away, but you could reuse the ivory strips.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
if you guys need my magic, I can find this for you, and you must kneel before me. We must
not kneeling,
pray
Ramus.
together. Do you want it or not, sir?
Not.
Don't question the process.
It's not the process.
This is where Bird comes in, and because he sees that Ramus is in somewhat good spirits or whatever for at least a moment, he just goes along with it. He's like,
Oh, mighty Ramus, I will kneel before you.
Finally,
Your
someone who
powers.
respects how the process is. Thank you,
Berg,
Berg.
like very dramatically kneels, and then he also says,
What are we doing?
Yeah, what's happening?
I don't know, Berg. I don't know. What do you need, Ramus?
Well, I shall channel this spell, and I will think upon Bahaf's history, and it shall be known to me all the secrets of it.
And just think of it this way, Maharib. If Ramus doesn't live out his dream to be some sort of god, emperor, king, he can always have a place on the theater stage.
It's true.
It's true.
Well, I suppose let's see what you can find out, Ramus.
Start channeling the spell, and then
Mhm.
for 10 minutes cast Legend Lore with the object
So
being
legend lore.
Bahath.
Yeah, legend lore is a prayer whose incantation takes 10 minutes. There are sacred hand signs that go along with it. There is the material components, the incense as it burns over the course of the 10 minutes, and you are focusing on Bahath themselves as an entity. Is that your your target?
I guess the spirit of Bahath, since it can be a person too. So like whatever they are, like I'm focusing on
Yeah,
them.
Bahath has been many things, right? Bahath is an aspect of Imix, a lesser aspect of Imix. So primordials can be divided into. So the greatest aspect we've seen so far, obviously, is Maru Bhavati, right? Maru Bhavati is a full embodiment of that primordial that is conjured up into the reality. It happens very, very rarely. But all primordials of that size have lesser aspects that make up their cosmological whole. So Imix is the top layer, and then below that there's Agni, Novum, Tohil, the various aspects of what fire is, right? Fire as creator, fire as destroyer, fire as hearth, right? And then below that there are those who enact those the will of the primordial, and Bahath is one of those. Bahath is a dragon who functioned in ages past, right? 10,000 plus years ago. Bahath functioned as a sort of general, but a destructive force, right? A weapon of Imix that would come in and destroy Imix's foes. Bahath's entire purpose was to burn shit down, kill people, destroy things, fight wars, do battle. That is Bahath's purpose and Bahath's reason to exist. He is the sword of Imix, the taloned claw of Imix, and as long as Imix wants something wrecked, Bahath is there to do it. So as a result, all of the information that you know from the legend lore collective unconscious about Bahath are tales of like failed heroes attempting to kill him. There are entire generations of warriors sworn to defeat the great flame dragon, all of whom were destroyed. He's a villain in every story you can think of, every message that passes through your mind. And even to those who worship Imix, Bahath is a figure of necessary evil, right? You open the box, Bahath comes out, you hope Bahath doesn't kill too many of your guys. When your enemy is dead, you try to draw Bahath back into the box, send him back to Imix, like, thanks, buddy, we don't need the killer flame dragon anymore. I think more modern, the story, the information you know about Bahath kind of starts to disappear around when it connects to the Goliaths, right? To Maharib's people. As with so many touched by the dragons, it is a story of woe, right? This is villages burned, families torn apart, people killed in horrible flame. Bahath was not friendly to the Goliaths. There was some negative interaction there. Now, I don't think you and I ever talked about what happened. What created the sword Bahath, but this is the question. It's either going to be an obvious absence, or we're going to know something. So, was Mihari the only person who still knew the story of the sword, or were there others like alive that remember?
In what sense? Like from the tribe, or?
Yeah, like the transition from Bahath the horrible dragon we all hate to Bahath the sword. Was Mihari the only one that still knew that story, or had it gotten passed on to other Goliaths as well?
No, I think it definitely got passed on. Yeah, okay. I think my tribe still exists, right? Like the last.
Yeah, okay. So it is a story still among the tribe. So then the next part, the Bahath as sword instead of Bahath as rampaging fire dragon, that is told from the perspective of the Goliath people of Maharib's particularly. I guess I can kind of leave this up to you, JP. Like, what does Ramus learn about how the sword came to be, and then some bits and pieces of like legendary things that maybe were done with it, or that might be attached to the sword?
Yeah. I think I don't know like how you're being told the message. Is it that he knows the story? Is it that he's seeing different like
It's
what
like
how is the spell interpreted?
God, it is the
Is he downloading it like
religious.
the Matrix?
Yes, I was about to make that analogy. So legend lore is like, I know kung fu, but for nerd stuff. It's not like anything you do, it's just things you know. So it would be like having a perfect memory of every story ever told about Bahath, download it into your brain immediately as if you had read it and internalized it.
Okay. Then yeah, I think you know of the Goliath people, and that there is a like sworn protector or mediator for the Goliath people, that I was that person, and that it had been kind of chosen within a random circumstance within the tribe. But since Bahath is obviously as evil as you kind of have interpreted from the other stories, it had, much like 10 Pillars was worried about, it had like command over me. And I listened to it and accepted it. And I was not necessarily the righteous warrior that I am today. Like, I destroyed villages, killed children, families,
and I love,
whatever.
Yeah, I love that this is Ramus looking for Bahath, and then Ramus gets this vision of like Maharib's war crimes period, which Maharib no longer remembers because those memories weighed on him so much that that's what he gave up to the void. But so Ramus, you see Maharib as like dark general, right? Leading mercenaries, burning villages, doing horrible things in the pursuit of wealth and of glory. And that is the fire was ignited by the presence of Bahath, which now obviously Maharib has been freed from. But you've seen now what happens with Maharib when there is a powerful entity goading him to do bad things. So I think the last thing that you learn, the last sort of story of Bahath, is from this community, right? This village, and you maybe see like a group of embers sitting around, and they're talking, telling old stories of Imix and the time before heaven and all of that. And the grandma that we met before, she's telling the story about old Bahath, right? The great flame, and how the shamans of Imix learned to dance with Bahath, right? To weave the rope of belief around Bahath's claws, around his wings, and to, like a kite, gain some degree of control over this terrible dragon. And that this is a thing that we have learned, this secret thing that we've learned, and it's what keeps us in this relationship with Imix, right? That sometimes, if you know the right tricks, fire can be pulled in various directions. And Ramus, that information is all dumped into your brain from the Department of Heavenly Lore, and you learn it in a moment at the end of the ritual.
Okay, like just the shock of all that hitting my brain at once, just a lot for a second, and I look at Mahari for a second and just flip the fuck out because all those memories of what he did. And I'm just terrified for a second. I'm like, forgot that who I am, where I am. I'm just in the memories of all that shit that just happened. Like, freaking out. Like, before I catch myself, like, I keep staring at him. Like, I just learned so much shit about him, and like, oh my God, that was so much. And I start relaying the stuff to you guys verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of polish up and make it sound less bad, the Mahari parts. I make it I don't quite go into such detail, but I just say that you did bad things and don't know if you were in control, but then if we finally get to the last part, I'm like, the people here have some way of controlling Bahath. Some sort of, I feel like it's dancing with him to like goad and control the flame, let it burn in the direction they want. There is some sort of control that they know about here. And I think I know which one of them would help us with that. Berg.
What?
You're asking.
I'm gonna be honest. I was responding to a text from my mom, so
Fine.
Well,
so I just need what
Berg,
was
put
the
it away.
I think. I mean, we can
What was
treat that
that?
as canon. You say what, and then I'll just respond to Ramus.
Yeah.
You're asking a former slave to control someone else, Ramus. You realize
It's not like mind control. It's more like there's a forest fire and you're cutting away part of the forest so it burns in the way you want it to. It's like fire will burn, but you can control its path. It's not like
What?
mind control.
What are you suggesting, Ramus?
We might be able to guide Bahath to advantageous targets for us.
And how
With the
do you suggest we guide?
it's murky because it's all allegory and stuff, but Vani,
I don't
Would
know
know.
what allegory means.
it's like gory but Al. He-
Alan Gory.
Who is Al?
it's like words that mean symbolic, flowery, like they don't mean dancing. I don't know exactly what that means.
Hmm.
But she would know. She's a person of power here. You could ask her what that entails, maybe.
I do think keeping an eye close on Bahath and what they choose to do. We must. But to force them, tough.
In the hallway
Right.
outside the room, there is the sudden sound of a commotion. You can hear lots of people talking and moving. All of a sudden, the door is shut, so you can't see what's going on. But yeah, there's suddenly like a commotion outside.
Oh, Adam,
What is that?
this reminds me just for future stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is stuff you'll have to like keep track of. The 14th level rogue skill blind sense. If you are able to hear, you are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creatures within 10 feet of you. Just so you know.
Okay. Well, so within 10 feet of you, invisible creatures.
Hidden
how it
or
works?
invisible. It's like someone behind a door or something like that.
Okay. There are 10 invisible creatures within 10 feet of you.
Oh my
and you just
God,
never noticed them before.
You
So
fucking god damn it. I'm just saying.
you're just surrounded by assassins. Just there's so many of them.
Blind sense,
The
Adam.
room is full of ninjas.
Everything is blind sense.
Oh God, we have
No,
another
you're
sign.
fine.
I know
you're
how
safe.
you Max. I'm sorry. I'm sorry
Which
for
way is this?
ever laughing at you
This way?
ever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, buddy. Buddy. I'm so sorry.
I know. It's tough. It's tough. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, cool. That is important for me to know. Yes. It's like if somebody has a familiar that can detect invisibility. It's like if I don't know, then we're gonna get into that awkward position where I'm like, and then the ninjas attack, and you're like, what? The ninjas I should have known about 20 minutes ago. So thank you. Yeah. So if somebody looks, if somebody just goes to the door and like opens it, the meeting's out, right? That's finished, and it looks like it ended on some action, right? Where it ended on like, let's go. We got things to do, and it looks like people are breaking off into little groups and like separating and going to like do things. Mostly like adult, like the seniors and the kids are not a part of this, but all the adults seem to be breaking off into little groups of like 3 or 4 and preparing for something. They're all running off with like eagerness. It's got the same energy as like the hallways of a school after the bell rings. Like everyone's like, shit, I gotta go, let's go. And they're all spreading out to go and get stuff done. But you have no idea what's happening.
Well, I'll be the first out the door then. See
Yeah.
what's up.
Okay.
I was gonna say who peeked
Yeah.
through the door. Yeah.
I'll open the door. I'm not making any attempt to sneak or anything. I'm just gonna open my door calmly.
Okay. Yeah, you're just watching people go. They're just leaving to go do stuff and like spreading out. And there's this kind of like energy rippling through people. If you want to grab somebody and be like, you there, what's going on? You can.
Yeah. I definitely stopped somebody. Has something happened?
So you stop somebody and she says to you, Bahath has issued an edict, a spreading the fire. We have to go and find others and bring them back. And she's saying this with she's excited and like this is an adventure and like everybody's kind of got this vibe of like, yeah, we're gonna go do that. And so that's what she says.
When you say bring them back, do you mean bring new people here to follow the word of Bahath?
She nods and she says, others in hiding, small flames flicker, embers, sparks waiting to be fire. We go to find them and bring them back for kindling.
People that are already devotees, or people that have yet to hear the word?
She shrugs. How can you know fire if you have not seen it before, felt its touch? Some of us go to ignite, others to find.
And you just, like, if you're looking at 10 pillars, you just see a heavy sigh, just like, very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
step 2 of becoming I'm telling them, like, our party here.
Yeah, you walk.
yeah,
back.
you turn back to the group, yeah.
Yep. Step 2 of becoming the leader of any sort of group or cult. Get more followers. That's what Bahath is doing.
Perhaps this is the best time for us to go and seek an audience.
I agree. Who will go? All of us, or just Ramus? Berg, who?
I think we all should, because we don't know how it will react.
Very well. Let's make haste.
You'll go.
Okay. So I guess where do you go? Like this big ostentatious room is one option. There's obviously some kind of like room behind it. Maharib, if you wanted to talk to Awut, you know where his like quarters are, but nobody knows where Bahath is like staying.
Maybe that's where I go then. I say to the group, let me go and talk with Awut, and he may know where to find Bahath. I'll meet up with you soon. Is that fair?
All right.
Everyone in agreement?
Yep. I'll
Get it
stay
on.
here.
All right. I'll be back. I leave.
Okay.
And while he's gone,
yeah. I was about to say, so
shit to
like,
talk
We
about.
kind of
yeah,
glossed
now
over
that
that.
Yeah.
I was wondering,
Yeah.
like,
I was waiting for you to get the fuck out, bro. I'm glad you did.
I was waiting for this moment. So as soon as Maharib gets out of earshot, 10 pillars you turn, I assume,
Like-
to Ramus, like, so.
I have something
guys!
to tell you about Maharib. Like,
Yeah.
both say at the same time.
Oh yeah, me and you both. Like,
She's like,
so Maharib, jinx.
yeah, I mean, I assume you go back into the room to have this conversation. Berg, are you present for this? Do you stick around?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
All right,
I
so
don't
the three
hear
of you
that.
are in that room. Let's
No, I don't care.
stick with you three. Let's play this conversation out, and then I'll jump back to Maharib. So the three of you go back in the room. You close the door,
Perg opens it.
and then
There's something I wanted to discuss with you guys about Maharib.
Sure, you first.
That axe he carries. It has some sort of hold on him. What can you tell me about
Yes.
it?
It is alive in a way. There is something in it. Dark. Powerful.
Why do you say dark?
Berg like looks at Ramus.
It came from the place of absence, a void in the world.
You're saying a powerful being from the void gave him that axe. Is that right?
More or less. It was very confusing, but yes, that's the gist of it.
What is your impression of
Yes.
it, Ramus Corell?
I don't fear it, oddly enough. I don't know why. I don't sense a threat from it, but he's been weird with it. That I have noticed.
Well, I'll tell
Ramus.
you this, and you can make from it. I'm sorry, Berg. Please continue.
That is weird. Because any one of us feel it. But now I ask you something I've wanted to know for a while. What exactly happened in the void when he got that axe?
I remember the monastery, and there was a person, but it wasn't that person. They were tempting me and talking to me, and flashes of darkness, and the monastery, and then him yelling at something. It was all it happened so quickly. It's all a blur, but my instinct makes me believe that he made some sort of deal to save me or something, and he's that axe has been there ever since. I don't know if that's like
Hmm.
part of the deal or something to watch him. I don't know.
Hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what happened recently, and you can take it for what it's worth. And confronted, I inquired about the axe to Mihari, and I asked him, and what the responses that I got were not encouraging. While we were talking, he told me straight to my face that the axe showed him a vision of my headless body spraying blood with my head and my arm. That's what the axe showed him when I questioned him about it. He says he
Yes.
can control it for now. And he says if it ever becomes too much or what have you, he will discard it. But I doubt that severely. You give someone any sort of power, they will not let it go. I've seen it many times.
Berg thinks a bit ago about what he just did. Like a
Well,
flashback.
what Berg just did was prevented somebody he cared about from dying.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pretty fucking hard to come by when you're Berg.
Yeah. When he says that, Berg jumps in and is,
I am not surprised by this. I have seen him with that axe. I know it has been talking to him, and he mainly has stayed in control. But he has clutched at it without knowing, and I have watched closely. And when I grabbed that axe, it showed me wielding both my hammer and his axe, clad in armor, with a sigil in front of a mighty army, charging to war.
Has Ramus, has that shown up yet? That like symbol of harmony or anything?
I don't think so. And I think this is the thing. If you described it, I don't know if Ramus has ever shown anybody, but if you were to describe it, it would be describing something from Ramus's imagination. Ramus would recognize it right away.
Yeah, I'm just asking that. Berg does describe it because he was going to do it anyways, but I wanted to know that before.
Yeah.
This was the symbol.
Berg like grabs out some parchment or whatever and just starts scrawling on it.
Yeah, real easy to draw, even if you don't have any skills. But yeah, as Berg marks this sigil on the piece of parchment, because it's 10 Pillars room, so there's like paper all over the place. Berg draws this with a piece of charcoal. Ramus, it is exactly like you have envisioned, right? It's the symbol of harmony.
Oh my God, Berg. Hold on. I go to the book I've been writing in for, and like this is like a very rough draft of stuff. So I flipped through this page of just doodles. Like I've been doodling hundreds of different like symbols, and that symbol is right there in one of the pages. Like it was one of my doodles, like in this book of like symbols I've been thinking about for like the religion, because you gotta have something for your armor or your medals, and that's one of them. And it was always my favorite. I'm sorry. This one? Have you been looking in my stuff?
No.
Berg like looks at you like, please.
Right, like moment of like significance, and Ramus is like, stay out of my stuff, Berg. Love it.
And just so I'm absolutely sure, and it's not off the screen or something, we're talking about the yin yang, right?
Yeah, it's a modified version of it, but yeah, it's something more or less equivalent. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
A symbol of balance. Yeah.
Right.
That is what I saw.
And I didn't mention this when he was in the room, but this sounds eerily familiar. Bahath, the sword, almost controlled him in a very similar way and made him do horrible things, destructive things. I fear he doesn't know how to be in control of himself anymore, and this is a comforting feeling for him. He lived this for so long. He's going back to the safety of having someone to push him in a direction versus thinking for himself.
Well, the more pressing issue is, what do we do about it?
That I don't know. I will continue to watch him and keep him in check. He knows I will.
Berg, you are strong and you are scary. But I don't know. If it were some sort of gladiatorial tournament, I don't know who I'd put my money on. It'd be a tough fight no matter what. In my experience, if you want to take something from someone, you should have something to replace it first. Bargain, a trade, something like that. So you should find a weapon. Be hard to find one of equal destruction or whatever, but
It's a
Would it
really,
be
it's a
that
really
hard?
good, it's a really good insight. It's a really good insight there, 10 Pillars, because if the Court of Coins had a motto, which it doesn't, but if it did, it would probably be something like everybody's got a price, right?
Yeah,
Or
fuck
everything
yeah.
for the right price. Like you clearly, like that's that paradigm at work where you're like, well, we got to figure out value here.
Yep. But I only
Well.
fear that the hold on him is already too deep, and no price would be enough. No weapon deadly enough to replace the hold the axe has on him.
So is Maharib going to come back and you're going to be like, we're doing this because we love you, Maharib. We can't let you
Kinda.
leave here with that axe.
Maybe.
It's like intervention time. Like,
Or it could be holding tissues. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Have-
I know
have a
you
seat on
think
that
you
stool.
need the axe, but 10 Pillars has written a letter he wants to read to you.
Just come over here, have a seat. Just have a seat right there.
Ever since you had that axe, you've been different, and I don't like it.
Berg's got a piece of paper there in front of him, so he stays on script.
First, let me say that I love you. When you grab for that axe, it makes me feel bad.
I love it. Yeah. So yeah, there is a tension in the room about the subject of Maharib and his mighty axe. And while you are discussing said Goliath, we cut over to Maharib. So you're seeing, this is clearly like you've been in kind of military camps before everybody like springs into action. You know this feeling. This is the feeling of like the night before a battle, right? Everybody is packing their things. People are preparing for a long journey. Probably there are lots of people in the embers right now who are having their like one last time in case I never see you again sex. So there's a lot of energy of kind of like things are changing and we're about to undertake something dangerous. And as a result, almost nobody is paying any attention to you, right? People go past you, but don't bother to stop or look. Everybody's in the middle of their own thing. And you come to Aout's like room, I guess, his little like quarters. Yeah, the door is open. You can smell food, the smell of food coming from inside. Maybe he's eating or he just ate, something like that.
Okay. Before the scene plays out fully, much like the three of them, I think that door shuts and like my eyes kind of gloss over and it's just like, oh shit. Like, do I remember everything now? Or do I still only remember what Ramus told me?
No, you only know what Ramus told you. Those memories are gone. They are void now. You can't get them back. You could make new memories, right? Someone could show you like pictures of all your war crimes and you would have memories of those pictures, but you'll never remember what you did again.
Okay. Then yeah, okay. I think there's probably a moment where like the door shuts and my eyes, it like goes to my face and my eyes are just closed and I just, shrug it off and move on. I go talk to Woot. So then it's me entering into the room. There's like a slight, is the door open? You said it's slightly open?
Yes. Door's open. Aout is sitting. I don't think they own any like furniture in the way we would think of it. So the floor has like a couple of layers of like rugs or carpets on it so that you can sit and stand and lay down on it. There's some like pillows around. And he's sitting in the center of kind of the like middle of the room and he's cross-legged and he's got a like a writing, like not a desk, but a piece of wood across his lap. That he's writing on with a quill. And then next to him, there is a full and untouched bowl of noodles just giving off steam. Looks like it was delivered, but he hasn't looked at it yet. And he's hard at work. He doesn't even look up when you walk in. Like he's just in the middle of writing.
Okay. Yeah, I make like a slight rap on the door as I walk in. See it.
Tap the frame.
Yeah. Does he like turn around or notice anything?
Yeah. No, so he looks up and Aout is dressed differently than normal. Normally, he has a pretty casual effect, right? He just wears like trousers and a light shirt and, has his hair because we talked about how he has like he's like dark skin, has like dreadlocks. I think they're quite short though, and he usually keeps them up. One of them has come loose from the binding and is just like hanging in his face. He kind of looks up and pushes it out of the way. And he's got a like a more ceremonial kind of like outfit on that he hasn't bothered to change. It doesn't look very comfortable. And so he's sitting writing on this paper as you come in. And he looks up as if like, oh, other humans exist. He pushes his hair out of his face. And then he notices the food. And then you notice the look on his face like, when was the last time I ate? And he sets aside what he's working on and he reaches for the bowl as he sees you come in. He looks up and he says, you know, I've been so busy with everything that's been happening. I don't even remember who brought me these or how long ago it was. Come in.
Okay. Yeah, I walk in, shut the door behind me, turn around. Things have definitely picked up pace here.
This is how fire works sometimes. You can spend all your life around candles and think you can control it, and then you knock the candle over and suddenly the library is on fire.
Where is
Funny.
the source, if you don't mind me asking? Of the fire, that is.
Nods. Bahath is down below in the sanctums, communing, deciding what to do next.
You were going to say something about Vani?
She says that you have something to do with Bahath returning to us. She didn't tell me what, but I want to thank you. It's already making a difference.
I'm not sure if you should be thanking me, but I understand it. It is good for the people here. The recruitment has started, from what I can tell.
We're going to need soldiers.
So it's war.
It's always war. It's been war for 10,000 years. It's just a little more active than it was before.
Does he have plans, or is it simply burn anything that opposes you?
Whatever is closest first. That means we're likely to end up having to finally clash with the Mara's servants. But the dead burn just as well as anyone else. And you can hear his voice like quaver a little, like he's trying to be like, don't worry, we got all this cool fire magic. It's going to be great. But you know, you can feel he doesn't necessarily believe it yet.
You seem unsure of the words you're saying. Is this because you don't agree with them, or you're fearful for what's to come? Or a mixture?
My father used to criticize me for being indecisive. I thought I was being diplomatic. I like to weigh things in my mind before I decide. Think 2 or 3 times before I strike the flame, but this is Bahath. This is not a carefully lit candle. This is a conflagration. I'm a bit out of my element. I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not a general. I've been caring for these people, keeping them safe, but we've been hiding. There's no mincing words about it. It's a coward's existence. Bahath is right. Time for a change.
What is the hierarchy with Bahath? If he is the one in charge, who is in his other ears? Or is there no one?
The relationship between the shamans and aspects like this is complicated. I don't have the training to understand it, let alone explain it to an outsider. If Vani survives the night, it'll be her responsibility to help guide the flame, ensure we don't burn ourselves.
Survives the night. What is happening to Vani?
The ritual, the ignition. She didn't tell you?
I have not. Well, we have spoken, but not about that.
She give you tasks, items to obtain, reagents. objects of mystical significance, didn't she?
Yes.
She lied to you about another cost, a cost to her life. She's arrogant, brave in a way I've never been, but she had to use some of her spirit to enact that magic. Cost her a great deal. She's resting now, but whether she lives or not, it's hard to say.
I'll ask Ramus if there's anything he can do. We owe her a lot, even though what happened.
I'm sorry, for what it's worth, about your friend. I know this wasn't how you intended for this to go.
I appreciate that. I don't know how I intended any of this to go at all, to be honest.
I'm nowhere near as good at this as even Vani, and certainly not the Eldritch Mother, but there's a reason people are drawn to the worship of the Fire Lord. We're chaotic that way, impulsive. When you worship the fire, you don't have to often think too much about what you're doing. You just do it and then figure out how it worked after the fact. This is what we need, Bahath, this sudden fire. I'm sorry it isn't working out better for you, but I hope that you can find a place here, whatever happens. You know how I feel about that.
I hope you're right about this being for the better. If you are truly to go up against Grave Dirt, I hope you don't underestimate them, what they're capable of.
She is a nightmare. I know that. A lieutenant of the Mara themselves, but we have a demigod now, so that's got to count for something, right?
She's it. They are in a human body. They have limitations. It's not like you have a demigod. You have a demigod within one of our bodies. We have limitations.
I have to trust in the Fire Lord.
I suppose you do. We're gonna go try and find an audience. Is there anything else you need?
Unless he turns and looks, there's a stack of like paper. Unless you want to write some letters for me. No, I'm going to be at this all night.
That's on you, friend. It's not what my hands were made for.
He nods and he says, honestly, it's better this way. I always thought I would have made a good poet. Oh, well.
I'll be around if things get dire. You know where to find me. Or any of my group. Ramusberg, 10 Pillars. They will all help.
Things are always dire, friend. That's why I'm glad you're here. If there's anything I need, I'll send someone. And the same for you. I don't anticipate I'm going to be going out and doing much. This place is going to be a bit lonely for the next little while. At least until the recruits return.
Very well. If there are any drastic actions that occur, if you could give me a heads up, or anyone that I'm friends with, that would be a huge boon. I know it might go against the leader now, but it would help us out. Especially if we are to gain his ear tonight.
And I would nod solemnly like, yep, things are complicated and weird now, but let's just try to get through it. And yeah, so you see the stress sort of weighing on him, but he bravely kind of like nods and is like, yep, cool, okay.
Did you just like say the tagline for all of Court of Swords?
What's that?
Things are complicated and weird now, and we'll just try and fucking muddle
Yep.
through it.
Sorry, we're just
That's
gonna
Court
try
of
to get through
Swords.
it.
That's Court of Swords. Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
very well. I should get going. I'll see you soon, friend.
Yep. Yeah. So you turn to go.
Yeah, I start walking back to the 10 Pillars room.
Okay. All right. So Ramus, 10 Pillars, and Berg, is there anything else that you want to get a chance to talk about before Maharib comes back, or should we just cut to Maharib returning? Yeah, you 10 Pillars, you have something? Okay. All right. So
I wanted to,
you leave.
They
and we
want to
cut
go
back
get
to
a
the three
bag
of them.
to throw over me as soon as I walk.
Yeah, right. You got a net and a
Bears down!
bucket, and you're like,
Stop resisting.
Maharib, we've got the Dragon Riders here to take you right to rehab, right outside. All you have to do is say yes.
Oh, man.
well, you know what's funny though? What's funny is the church that would be responsible for helping people break their addictions is the tower. Because the tower is the arcana of letting go, right? So if you had to get somebody like to give up their addiction, you would take them to the church of the tower. And that awesome.
I don't need this axe. I can put it down whenever I want.
Yeah, listen, it's just because I don't have a better axe just around, okay?
You shall take
No,
him to the city of brass, where he shall. Never mind.
No, I wanted to, because Ramus had something to say about Maharib, and I'm guessing it's about that vision or the spell.
I was just gonna say, you didn't know a weapon that could equal the power of that axe, and I was just gonna remind everyone that Bahath currently has one that could equal such a weapon. If we wanted to trade his axe for the scepter that we found down in the vault, but it's currently
I
held
thought
by
that scepter
Bahath.
was consumed as a gift or something.
He
Yeah.
was holding it.
Yeah, weird how that goes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it
Was
was
it
like straight
consumed
up
or not?
No, he was
Vascar
described as
steel
holding it.
melted down.
Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
described
It
him as
was-
holding
it-
it during the speech.
Oh, okay. I see.
Man, that's so fucked. We should have kept that shit.
Should just put it up on the shelf next to a little elephant
Hey,
figure, and we'll
I
just add
didn't
it to the
know
list.
that that 10 Pillars was going to be a real character. It would have fit him perfectly.
That's right, you didn't know. And now look at this shit.
Love it.
All right. You mean the scepter we found down below?
Yes,
Hmm.
the gift that was to be given back to Imix doesn't seem to have been given back.
I wonder if that's part of Bahath's sway on the people here. The scepter is a conduit for his power. It's a mass hypnosis of some sort. Mild one, so they don't know they're being affected by it. I've heard of these things.
I don't know. We didn't really get to explore all of its powers, but it's definitely a formidable weapon.
Well, shit.
Yep. Shit. Anyways,
Wait, I hear him coming. I have
Yeah,
this
right.
new
I was
power.
saying that's Mihari returning, right? Like,
Yeah,
well, shit. And then the door opens.
that's fine. Yeah, I walk in.
That's why I like Mihari the most.
And that's why Mihari will always be my best friend. Hey, Mihari, buddy! Surprise! Happy birthday!
Yes, his farts smell like springtime. I don't know if you knew this.
What are y'all doing when I walk in? Just like sitting around waiting?
Yeah.
No,
If we've concluded,
if I hear you
speaking,
coming,
I'm-
I open the door for you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you definitely would. I'm not like trying to sneak around or anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think when you open the door.
Can I get
Yeah, just
Can I
say
get
any news.
Can I get a deception check from 10 Pillars, Berg, and Ramus real quick?
Sure.
Just like just an act normal check, a fly casual check, if you will.
Yeah.
17.
They rolled pretty well.
Okay, so you have 14,
Berg rolled
which is
an 8.
rounded up to a 7. So okay,
Do I need to roll then?
Real good.
No, this isn't for you. This isn't if you notice
Oh shit!
Oh,
okay.
I know. This is if your friend.
Yeah.
this. So when you come into the room, 10 Pillars and Ramus seem pretty normal. There's something about Berg that just like irks you as soon as you look at him. Like he's hiding something. Like just him being in the room is like just like gritty at the like something's bothering you about Berg being here. You want to like either leave or make him leave.
Right.
And you sense that feeling kind of wash over you, Maharib. Something's bothering you about the way Berg looks.
Okay. Then yeah, I think kind of roll it back 5 or 10 seconds. 10 Pillars, you open the door.
Hmm.
Do you say anything to me? Because I definitely stop when I see you open the door. Like,
Yeah. No, I say any. What's the word?
they say he's down below. We can go and meet with him. I think I like walk in and then I get that feeling for Berg.
Mm-hmm.
What were y'all doing?
Discussing what may be our next course of action.
Do we have a plan on how we're going to speak to Bahath?
Well, first we should get straight what we want out of the conversation before we even go down there. What's the consensus? Get him on our side?
I think it's less him on our side, but more him not throwing away this opportunity. I truly believe that they can be on our side, but if they strike too early against Gravedirted, it will get crushed.
So, act with prudence then.
Sure. If we can give him information, we might be able to.
Did they give you the impression that that's what they wanted to do?
I only spoke to one. He seemed hesitant to move forward, but he has his duties. He will follow them. The rest are all recruiting. They want to bolster their forces.
We need to make him realize that the flame isn't enough. It needs the wind, the earth, water. With their powers combined, they will be able to.
God damn you!
You motherfucker.
Get him out of here right now, JJ. I
just-
cannot
all right,
play
we're
with
trying
this
to run a
person
show here.
anymore. Jesus Christ. Some of us are trying to make this something special. Dan, how dare you?
Totally
That was
broke my
beautiful.
immersion, Dan. God.
God.
I love it when Dan cracks one of those this shit-eating grin. And there's nothing else like it.
Man.
He just looks
I knew it was
bad,
coming.
like-
I was waiting for it. I'm like, he's gonna do it, isn't he? He's gonna fucking do it. He's too far in.
Yep. All right. Anyway.
Anyways,
Um,
Harmony
Yes,
can be a
there-
tool, an idea to unite all of the elementals to combat the Mara. Solo is not enough. They all have to combine to have the strength to combat them.
Ramus, don't take this the wrong way, but harmony is nothing more than an idea right now. You realize that, right? The Embers of Imix have an army. They're building a bigger one. You have an idiotic monk in the camp that we left to recruit other idiotic monks.
And the elementals had the idea to build a fountain and a heaven to control everything else, and look how it happened for them. It all starts with an idea, my friend. You just have to believe and have enough faith.
Are you
This
saying
is an idea that has already spread of its own volition.
There's
Meaning,
potency here.
well, perhaps that's Ramus and 10 Pillars argument then.
Maharib, I think you would serve as a good counterbalance to our zealotness, to keep us in check, so that people like you don't feel left out or being controlled by harmony. I want you to be a part of it, a voice of reason.
I don't know
Because
what
you
to
hate
say
religion. You hate religion. You despise it. Help me create this one that serves not just my ambitions, not 10 pillars, but yours as well, and everyone that you represent.
to that. You realize you're just making another heaven, but with your rules.
I want you to make sure that I don't.
Then don't.
I want, but we need to unite to have a chance against these forces. Heaven and the Mara are too powerful for us not to unite. This is just an idea to bring us together.
I love the tenor of this moment because it shows so much about Maharib that Ramus is like, Maharib, I need your help. And Maharib's response is basically, if you were cool enough, you wouldn't need anybody's help. Sunglasses walks out. Like, that's always been Maharib's thing. Like, I don't need you. I don't need anybody. Cool, tough people don't need friends. Right? And then every time, and it's gone badly every time you've like relied on anybody. Like this whole situation with Amira, if she was tough and cool, she wouldn't have needed you in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's tense. That's awesome.
We need to speak with him. The harmony issue was a later conversation. Is it not?
It's
yes.
just, as you said, an idea, and we can play with it as we go.
I think we go down there with the idea that he does not know this world. He does not know grave dirt. He does not know what he's up against, but we do. And it's for that we can be useful to him. We have information that he needs. That's all that turns this world. You know that firsthand, 10 Pillars. I don't know of any other bargain we can bring to the table that will let him listen to us. Besides that.
Very well.
And what of you? You're being quiet. He looks at Berg.
I'm always quiet.
You don't have anything to say in this particular matter?
I agree with most of what you all said. We created this problem. Now we have to live with it. I just worry what Bahath will do.
Awut told me about Bonnie and that she had to give up her own, I'm not sure, life force or something like that.
Essence. Like something,
yeah. Perhaps you should go and check on her, Berg, while we go have this conversation.
She will be fine.
You're just saying that?
Dr. Berg
No.
now?
I helped her. She was weak. Dying. She is not now.
We're just supposed to take that at face value? You're not going to explain anymore?
I gave her a part of my energy. Somehow. She has helped us. A lot. And, well, so many have been lost in my life. I was able to help, so I did. I hope she will help us.
If I look at Berg, does he look like exhausted or tired or like whatever?
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Man, I'm fine.
what's interesting
what you
here-
looking at me for?
Well, what's interesting about Berg is that what you're looking for here, you can go ahead and make an insight check, but keep in mind that like all
It
Berg
wouldn't
gave
really
up
show-
was
Oh, God, 30.
well. Here's the thing. So you can figure out how you notice this, but Berg doesn't look bad. He doesn't look like tired exactly. It's just that maybe you're noticing now that aside from this moment, every other time you've looked at Berg has looked better and tougher and more real than everyone else. Like the shine has gone off the
you're gonna
apple a
do me
little
like
bit,
that.
but he's still a delicious apple. It's just that like you gave up your divine gift, right? Like you're more Berg. Like you're still special. You still have the guiding hand of heaven behind you. But yeah, something
I'll
is
show
different
you how
about Berg.
special I am.
Yeah, but Berg, I think let's put it this way. You see, and this fits
It's
nicely
fair
with your
enough.
background 10 pillars and part of your job when you came down here, your secondary mission. Berg looks more human than he ever has to you before. Something about him, like you don't feel like, oh, poor Berg, or oh, Berg is so tired. You're like, oh, you see like yourself in him. He's not Berg, the glorious hero of heaven right now. He's just Berg, like a man. He's dressed in the
So-
regalia of a hero. He carries the weapon of a hero, but like you see his humanity for the first time.
Do I still look sick
Would
as
it be
fuck?
would it be a fair
course you do.
analogy? Would it be a fair analogy to say like seeing the painting of a great warrior and then seeing them in person, even though it's realistic?
You can still see, yes, you can still see what inspired the painting, but now
Yeah.
you're seeing Berg the man, not
Okay.
Berg the hero.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't make any comment on it. I just look since Mihari
Yeah.
or since Berg said like he gave something of
Yeah,
himself.
continue. The conversation continues, but 10
Yeah.
Pillars takes a moment to like observe Berg.
Well, then I guess she'll be all right. We should hurry downstairs. I don't want others to influence Bahath.
Agreed.
Let's go.
Before we leave, one second. I want to be clear. I don't remember anything that Ramus said about me. I'm not that person. I'm sure you have been thinking about this at some point, but that's not me. If there's any other questions or comments you have, make it known.
We will. The matter at hand is more pressing, so let us take care of that first.
I agree. So, yeah, start heading downstairs.
Lead the way.
Imagine if
All
Berg
right.
just whispered bitch under his breath.
Better
Yeah,
walk
Berg
away,
just suddenly
bitch.
starts acting like weirdly macho and aggro around
Yeah.
Mihari. Like,
Oh, man.
starts doing the Star-Lord thing with Thor. Why am I talking what way? I'm talking away.
I've always talked this way.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. You are. You're the one. You're in charge.
So so we crossfade to the second level. And actually, no, you know what? I think down below you go to the second level and there's no sign of Bahath, and somebody tells you like, oh, she's gone down into the dwarven ruins, right? She's gone to seek the old forge. And so what we fade out to is the group of you returning to that old dwarven, the place where you fought the golem, right? The place you fought the iron golem, like that room, the treasure room of the queen.
I knew it.
And she Bahath has, it looks like, reignited all of the like lava flows and stuff. So when you come in, all of the lava is pouring out again. There are places where the dwarven stone machinery is cracked and there's lava like gushing through it. The room seems to be much more of a ruin and much less like a dwarven chamber anymore. And then up in the throne, the bones of the dwarf queen have been thrown aside. And you see Bahath. Well, you don't see Bahath, right? Like Ramus, Berg, and Mihari, you see unnamed, right? Like it's still going to take some time for you to recognize that the person on the inside is different than what you see on the outside. 10 Pillars, you just see the dead body walking around. She's sitting in the throne. She's not wearing her ceremonial high priestess garb now. She has on instead just a simple, like just a shirt and some pants. She's barefoot. She's let her hair down. She's got her horns kind of sticking up, and she's just leaning on the throne when you walk in. And in front of her, she's playing with a flow of lava. It seems to have been pulled by magic up out of the pool, and she's just using it to make various shapes. So she's moving her hands around, essentially doing like origami with it. So she turns it into a couple of like fighting birds. And then she shapes it into a dragon, and she's just kind of idly like playing with this lava floating around when you walk in. And it's quite a long walk up to the throne. What do you do when you see this? She's noticed you, which she has. She hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I think on the way down here, that Mihari makes the decision to ask, like, who's going to be the one to talk?
Everybody
One of us is
awkwardly.
One of us is more.
The entire
versed in
breakfast
the
club just looks at each other like.
Well, I was honestly waiting to see if anybody, because obviously I'm like the most pointed choice, but I'm seeing if anybody else had any super big desire to do it. But I'll step forward.
Well, what was Ramus saying?
I was just suggesting that, like, he's the most skilled orator of us all.
Okay, but fair enough. 10 Pillars, and then I think we like fast forward again, and it's us walking up to Bahath, and with the understanding that 10 Pillars is going to be the talking.
Yeah, I think it's fair to assume you've just decided this in advance. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you walk in, and you see her, and she looks up as you approach.
Is it evening, morning, whatever?
It's evening. Like,
I'll just say
you don't know
good
what
day
time it is.
then.
You haven't been outside in a while.
Right. Okay. Good day to you. I'm not quite sure how to address you.
And she looks down, and when she speaks with a single voice now. Her voice is it is a lower timbre than we would have heard Unnamed speak with, and there is a sort of crackling to it. There's like a bit of like a sort of throatiness that she didn't have before. It's like if Unnamed smoked like 10,000 cigarettes between the last time you saw her and now. And she,
How you doing, dollface?
exactly. Yeah, she looks. She's like, "Yo, what's going on, you guys?" No, she looks down at you.
Whoa.
She looks down at you, 10 Pillars, and she says, "What? You don't bow before a queen now?"
I bow.
Grins.
I
Better.
didn't know that you had taken the title for yourself. I apologize for my rudeness.
I haven't decided. Queen, Empress. I'm pondering. And she kind of just flicks aside the ball of lava she's been playing with, and it just lands near you and like turns to stone.
So, you mean to rule over these people? Do I have the right of it?
That's what you people need, isn't it? To be ruled. Someone to tell you what to do, where to go, what to burn.
I would agree with that. The world needs order.
It pleases
order
me
to
then to
get that
take
order.
the throne. And yeah, she says, it pleases me then to take this throne.
When you say you intend to burn, I mean, may be so bold. Do you mean everything, or do you have plans in mind?
It is in my nature to destroy that which is in my way. I see these dead things shambling in their temple. The woman that thinks she rules them. The shadows behind it. I can see all of it. They will be my first victims. I will set fire to them and all that they hold dear. And then we will begin thinking about old wounds and how to make them right.
Surely you are magnificent and powerful. That is much as obvious. But even someone such as you cannot do it alone. Is that why you're recruiting all of the little sparks, as they say?
There are two ways of things. The correct way and the incorrect way. I have sent my children out to enlighten those unbelievers of the correct way of things. They will come to us, or they will burn.
I thought as much. So it's follow me or die kind of mindset you have.
It is the only way. You cannot have people equivocating. Humans become confused with too much choice.
My experience, reverence is far a greater tool than fear. If they revere you and respect you and fight and die for you, fear can have the same effect, but to a much lesser degree. Surely you must know this.
You think like a talking ape, which makes sense, I suppose, given that's what you are. The fire doesn't care if you love it or not. The flame burns bright whether you give it your respect or not. Just because some of my cousins bow and bend to human will doesn't mean the fire does. I'm not here to
Yes,
gain
but-
worshippers, 10 pillars.
Oh, not worshippers.
She shakes her head.
What would you call them then?
Subjugants, grins.
But who will teach you how to subjugate the apes better than an ape themselves? Surely your mind would not be sullied to go as low as to put yourself in the position of an ape.
she grins, and she doesn't sit up so much as like just lifts from the chair, seemingly effortlessly, and now is standing. And she looks down at you, still grinning, and she says, "Is that what this is? 10 pillars of gold. You've come to kneel before me, offer me your services." And then she licks her lips.
Well, that remains to be seen. You've seen enough people who have placed themselves with the mantle of God, godlike people. They proclaim themselves all-powerful and all-knowing. Sometimes they overreach. I'm just wondering if you're doing that. Fire is hubris. It is. Not everything burns, is all I'm saying.
Perhaps you've not encountered fire hot enough.
Perhaps not.
And when she says that, can you make a Constitution saving throw for me?
Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, God. And it's like I have 3 abilities that are fucking proficient. That's not one. God damn it. Okay. 14?
14 is not going to be sufficient, I'm afraid.
Son of
So,
a bitch.
you know, she doesn't just like, you don't just burst into flame and fall into a pool of lava, but like your body temperature starts to rise. Like you suddenly have a fever and your mouth goes dry and you can feel like your shirts start to like get sweat through just like right away. Like instantly you start feeling this like intense heat.
And I'm sure it's coming from her, right?
Yeah, she's boiling you from the
Okay.
inside just to prove a point.
And that's exactly what I'm about to say. Like, awfully petty for a god.
It's
Don't you
funny
think?
she's making all the same mistakes.
And she turns, and when Ramus says that, when Ramus speaks up, the effect is
Oh, yeah.
gone. Yeah, you like stumble to your knees, right, or whatever. You like stagger 10 pillars, suddenly like returning to your own normal body heat. But she turns and looks at you, and she says, "You have something you want to say to me, apostate?"
It's just, you know, the saying, you know, those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. You're doing it all over again. Do you not remember what happened last time you did this exact same thing?
She makes a tiny change in her facial expression. It goes from like imperious overlord to like a tiny pout for just a second and then back to normal. And you can see that she's like, fuck, he's right. and she instead she gestures imperiously like, "I will allow you to continue."
I help 10 pillars back up. My friend is trying to help you, not question your power. We know you have power. Continue, my friend.
She turns her attention back on 10 pillars.
A hot enough fire, as you said, would burn anything. But an unchecked fire burns out of control. It burns everything. It burns your subjugants and non alike. But a focused fire that can be used in a deft hand. It can be used to only destroy the ones that you mean to destroy. And think, if your fire burns so hot and so wide that it burns people who would otherwise follow you, in the beginning they may call it a blessing. I was burned by the god. I was burned by Bahoth. I am blessed.
When you
Burn
say
enough of
that,
them.
when you say a blessing, I was burned by the god. She looks at Ramus, right? And we see Ramus's like face has the burn mark on it still, right? So she casts a glance like, yes, they would say that. And then lets you continue.
But burn enough of them, and it's no longer a blessing. You see what I'm getting at?
You speak as a man who was raised under the shadow of heaven. You speak as though all gods care to have worshippers. You speak to me as though I am one of the mewling cowards that turned their back on the earth and bound the light into the fountain. You misunderstand. The fire is not a tool for getting what I want. The fire is what I want. 10 pillars. Everything will burn. It's just that those who are faithful burn last.
See, there she goes again. Just going right back into it like a habit. She goes right back to the old ways.
And yeah, she grits her teeth and like she's stop annoying her. Like that's she's like she kind of looks at you like you don't understand. And I think at this point it occurs to you, Ramus, like you're saying that to like goad her and kind of push her around, but it occurs to you that she can't help it. Right? That like for all this talk of primordials and their like abilities and stuff, like sure, humans are bound to their destiny by heaven. Heaven tells you and shackles you with like, this is your job. Your job is to bow to heaven. If you want to be enlightened, you do what heaven demands of you. You listen to the priest and you do your thing, right? But creatures like Bahath are the same. She can't be different because that's what she is. Like she wouldn't use the word destiny to describe it, but trying to learn how not to burn things is totally outside her nature. The fact that she's trapped in a human body or a tiefling body might affect that in the long run, but right now her desire is just like burn everything. You can't teach a fire not to burn, right? So when she looks at you, she's like, she scowls, but is powerless to say anything because like it just doesn't make sense to her. She can't process like don't burn.
How do you grow food? What's the prime ray to arrange crops so they grow properly? How do you build a house?
What do I care for these things?
Because if you're going to have an army of people, you're going to need to know them if you're going to rule them. These are simple, basic things that you should know if you're going to be a ruler. This is not a realm of fire. It's a realm of creation, water, earth, fire, all working in harmony with one another. This is why they got you. You didn't think outside of what you were made to do. Heaven won. Because you are doing what you are doing right now, not thinking.
There's no answer to that. Like everything you're saying is true and accurate. Like there's no call for a roll. Like, and I think the only way that she knows how to respond is with anger. So she turns on the like, I'm no conjurer of cheap tricks, right? It's a thaumaturgic effect, but the whole place becomes hotter. The lava starts to like bubble. She gets like an aura of flame springs up around her, and she says to you, Ramus, she says, "You dare speak to me this way."
I don't question your power. How many times do I have to tell you that? I want you to succeed, and we're trying to help you. You have to embrace something outside your nature, compassion.
Man, God, it's like it's you have the fundamental like nature of things correct. You are right. Like you understand her. You are actually ultimately you're trying to help her ascend beyond just being like a crazy old Bahath, the war crimes god. But she can't, right? She's hitting a block where she's like, wait a second, like no, this doesn't compute. What do you mean don't burn things? That's crazy. Like she can't even process that. But I wonder what it would take to change the mind of a god. Like I feel like there's more to it than just saying things, but this is a good start. So she responds with anger again, and I think that her snarl turns into a roar of like frustrated anger, and that's where you hear the dragon come out, right? You hear this deep kind of reverberating roar where she's just angry, not just at you and what you're saying. This isn't the kind of anger that a human being has. This is like, again, a primordial frustration, a fury. And when she roars, all of you feel programmed into your very soul as like atavistic little ape people. You feel the fear of dragons, right? You fear that. So I need everybody to make wisdom saves. Let me check real quick.
Damn it.
Oh, great.
I'm just going to make you make all your wishes. I know. Now, let me just check the DC before you do any rolling. Okay. All right. Got it. So, wisdom saves for everybody, and then I'll let you decide how you respond.
On this.
It's an 8 for 10 pillars, 19 or 15 for Ramus. Burger using inspiration.
I will use my
I'm
lucky
so glad
dice
I
to
did.
re-roll that.
Okay.
I
You
can
want to
do
roll
that.
that, Ramus? Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's better. That's better.
Okay.
I'm going to use inspiration. As well.
Yeah, Mihari, you're going to use
Thank
yours
God.
too. Okay. All right. So
18.
Ramus and Maharib make the save. 10 Pillars and Berg fail the save. I'm not going to tell you. In combat, you would take the frightened condition and have to like move away or whatever, but you don't have to like run. You tell me how you respond to this fear. And remember, it's not a fear. It's not hitting your brain. It's not like you see her and you're like, oh, she's getting mad. I should probably leave. This is scary. She is growling at the part of your brain that is responding to like you accidentally put your hand on the stove and you yank it away without thinking. So what do Ramus and Maharib, you can stand your ground against her, but Berg and 10 Pillars, you feel this fear wash over you. What do you do?
Can it be justifiably like do I have to show the fear?
I think I'm gonna let me
Let me tell you my intention then. My intention is to pretend as though I'm not scared, but I'm done with this conversation. I'm leaving.
Yeah, you can make a deception check if you want to hide from your friends or from her that you are afraid. Like if you just turn and walk out, you can try to cover it just like she's doing, right? Because what she's doing is she's covering her uncertainty with anger, right? And so what you're doing is covering your fear with frustration, being like, if you're going to be like this, I'm out. Yeah, you could do that for sure if you want to. Before that happens though, Berg, what do you do?
I think since she's essentially like the base level posturing, Berg's like initial thing is like he leaps back, because that frightened condition or whatever, and then immediately goes into a rage and wields the hammer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because that's your response. It's like a response to violence, right? Okay. And then Ramus and Maharib, do you stand your ground? Stare her down, or do you do anything else?
I think I laugh.
I hold out my hand and say, I know it's so scary or confusing, but I want to help you, even if you don't know why I want to help you or how. Please. And I step forward to prove I'm not afraid of her, and I kneel to ask her to please let me try to help you, even if you don't know why.
All right. Okay. So this is a pretty significant persuade check, because it's not like I can fix you, but it's like just have a moment of humanity here. And what you're really reaching out to isn't so much the fire and the creature Bahath, but you're like, maybe you've changed. Maybe there's some influence of a person in there.
At this
and
point,
also
the
you're
show
saying,
go ahead.
Also, you're stepping forward to be like, you can just burn me to ash if you want to. Like you're putting yourself in danger, right?
This is the part of the show
Sorry,
where
JP, you're gonna say
Coldplay starts playing as Ramus leans forward. We have the rights to it. I talked with him.
I see. That's what you're doing during the scene. You're texting John Coldplay.
Yeah,
to
I'm
get
hitting up,
rights.
I'm hitting up Mr. Coldplay.
Adam, is
Okay,
it
good.
possible
All right.
for Berg to like hold action or whatever? I know we're not in like combat or whatever, but if fire does start raining on Ramus, is it possible for Berg to jump in with like a shield and?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You tell me what you want to do. You can leap to interrupt. 10 pillars. You get another chance to like get your shit together basically every like round. So you only have to walk double your movement rate away.
Okay.
So you walk off, you can make that check again, but while that's happening, Ramus, you step forward and you're like, just let me fucking help you. Like you just put your hands out. So let's have you make a persuade check. If you have any, like you could, if you want, you could empower this with like a spell. If you want to like cast, if part of this is like casting guidance on yourself or something, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'll use guidance and inspiration for this.
Nice.
Dang.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay.
23. Okay. All right. So she
25. Yeah.
takes a step. She takes a step 25, right? She takes a step forward as if to like observe. She's not curious, but interested, right? She takes a step forward and looks down at you like, what's happening? Like, why isn't he running in fear or attacking me or like acting like a human should? Why are you doing this weird thing? And she steps forward and her aura kind of envelops you, right? She walks you into the fire. And so, as a result, she's got this look on her face, and Mihari Benberg, you can see this, where she's looking at you like, I'm going to take my time deciding, and maybe you're going to light on fire and turn into dust before I have to make this decision. Or maybe you'll just prove that you're a coward and you'll run away when the fire burns you. So she's kind of testing you, Ramus. You're going to take some damage, but of course you have Agni's mark, so that will help you endure. Let me see how much.
Is it just
damage.
Ramus
Forgot
taking the
about that.
damage?
It's just Ramus. Yep. She steps forward to like embrace Ramus in her cloak of flame. So let me just see how much we're looking at. I think it's make a con save first, and then I'll roll damage.
10.
Yeah, 10. All right. So it'll be full damage, then cut in half. For your power, right? Here we go. Okay. There's Bahath. Let's see. Okay. All right, Ramus. Cut this in half. That's how much fire damage you're gonna take.
Okay.
Okay, so you take 33 fire damage, and everybody watches as Ramus's like clothes burst into fire, like burst into flame. His skin starts to like crack and peel, and she just looks down at you like, you're gonna crack and you're gonna rescind that offer. You don't mean it, basically. And I think Ramus for sure, and I'll leave it up to Berg and Maharib to decide what they think of this, but she wants Ramus to prove, like, this is a moment of vulnerability for her because she thinks one thing of Ramus and wants Ramus to prove it. She's testing him, right? And so in this moment, Ramus is the one that's really in charge. So Ramus, you feel immense pain. You feel like this fire wash over you, and it hurts so much. Like every nerve is on fire. Berg, you see this happen. Do you act, or like you're cognizant of what's happening? Do you jump in and try to intervene, or do you let Ramus endure this on his own?
Well, I mean, I get that Ramus is trying to prove something. I also remember that he has Agni's mark. I wasn't thinking about that before. And can I even move forward because of the fear? Does the rage?
Well, let's
cancel
do
that,
this. 10 pillars and Berg. 10 pillars and Berg both roll to overcome the fear. Let's see if you can do it.
Yeah, it's been around. Yeah.
Wisdom, right?
Yeah.
It's a 6.
And take
potentially.
advantage on these.
Oh,
Take advantage on these because
Still not
she's
enough,
not
assuming
actively
I have
trying
one.
to like engage you or whatever. So 10 pillars, you get 60 feet away. You stop. take a breath. You're like, you know what? I'm fine. It's okay. You turn around. You see this happening. Berg, you still feel that like fear gripping you, and you can, and to Chat's point, you can still like shout and like help Ramus that way if you want.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be, and we'll justify it this way. It makes sense that Berg instinctually wants to go help Ramus, but then thinks better of it and still can't actually fight this fear because he's still under that effect.
Oh God, it would be so frustrating for Berg. Like, you want to save Ramus. You've had this experience before, right? Where like horrible things have happened to the people you love, and you were powerless to do anything, and you're staked to the ground by your own fear. This is like Berg's worst nightmare. So of course that comes out as like a fear of a shout. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so the Berg's shout of anger, of zealous rage fills the room, doesn't distract Bahath, but Ramus, you feel suddenly full of the power of friendship. You feel that Berg is there, holding the line with you. Maharib, you were laughing when she got angry, tried to scare you. Then she stepped forward and Ramus lit on fire. What are you doing?
I don't know. I've been trying to, like, there's no way that I can like serve as a shield here for Ramus, right? Like this is just happening to him, not between Bahath and him, right? Like I can't step into it.
It's because she's standing so close to him. If you run in and like shove her back, that would like buy Ramus some space.
Okay, then maybe that's what I do. Because it's not necessarily me attacking her. It's me like trying to defend Ramus, which is the goal. So
Ramus, in your peripheral vision, even though your like eyeball fluid is boiling, in your peripheral vision, you see Mihari moving to interpose. Do you say anything?
Yes,
I mean, you know what this is. You know this is a test, right?
Maharib, I have to endure this. It's a test. To prove my worth, your tribe would have done something for you, I'm sure.
I think then like I stop right in front of Bahath, and like I was pretty much in full stride, so I'd probably move a little bit closer. I can't just like cold turkey stop.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide maybe.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide. Yeah, and I stop and just kind of, if I slid, maybe I just like stay on the ground, and I'm just watching both Ramus and Bahath like going back and forth with my head spinning while on the ground and like getting myself up.
So seeing that you haven't immediately like burst into a cloud of ash and blown away, Ramus, Bahath takes another step closer to you. She's standing like right in front of you, and she kneels down and she looks at you, and you see again this familiar face. You're so close to this person that looks exactly like someone you care deeply about, but you feel again that the lizard brain feels the fear, right? You feel the dark shadow of an aerial predator on top of you. You feel literally the fire burning your flesh. Make another saving throw. You have advantage from Berg's bolstering you.
Since I, well, can I do something to help that or not?
It depends. What did you want to do?
I want to do like helpful, inspiring help.
Oh, he already had inspiration, but if you have something that adds like extra dice, like a bardic inspiration or whatever, then you can.
Inspiring help adds a D6 bonus.
Okay. You can save it because a D6. Well, if you get a 6 on that die, it'll make the save. So if you want to roll it, you got a 1 in 6 chance.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So the fire continues to just burn, and like the sound of Berg roaring and like anything else that's happening outside of that is a conflagration of deafening volume outside. You can't hear anything. You just hear the crackling of fire and this stare of Bahath. And so you're going to take some more damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will see. So remember half this damage. So 34 this time.
All right.
And she looks at you and she says, "Why don't you yield?"
Can I do something on my turn?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Because I am tired of yielding. I want to destroy heaven. You want to burn something, you're going to have to rely on me to help you. You may not be able to think about all the things that I know, but you know how to burn. I can show you where to do the right burning. I will endure. And I cast heal on myself to heal myself up.
Awesome. So you're literally on fire, and you are revivifying your flesh so that it can continue to be burnt.
Yep.
And I love the metaphor of this, where you're like, I will come face to face with your unending eternal torrent of fire, and I will just keep being fuel. I'll just like, there is more Ramus than you know. And I think that when you do that, when you conjure up, and at this point, I'm pretty sure that Ramus is praying to some abstract concept of his own divinity, right? Like, these aren't necessarily just heaven's prayers anymore. You are calling on some internal wellspring of power. And she stands up and looks down at you. And there's no moment of change. There's no like, she doesn't clap her hands or anything, but suddenly you're not on fire anymore. The aura of flame withdraws, and she sort of leans back. She sits back in the throne, and she looks at you. And in this moment, right, 10 pillars, you've turned around. Berg, you feel the fear wash away. In this moment, more than any that you've seen so far, she looks more like Unnamed than like Bahath. There is something else tempering Bahath's fire that allowed you to get in there, Ramus. And I think that's the last shot of the episode, is her sitting in the throne, looking at Ramus, who is like smoldering, right? Smoke coming off of Ramus with 10 pillars, and Mihari behind, and then Berg standing right behind Ramus with the hammer, glowing with the white aura of heaven's power. And that's it. And then we go to end credits. Cool.
That was a fucking great
awesome.
scene.
Yeah, that was great. That was
That
awesome.
was really cool. Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Awesome.
And screw you, JP.
Why's that?
For saying that 10 pillars shit in his pants. I couldn't get that image
Well,
out of my head. Just like,
You paused.
listen,
Also,
I'm gonna.
Dan made me
I'm
Dan made
leaving,
me and Max
goodbye.
freak the fuck out because he just goes, "How do you grow food?" It was just,
Oh my god, that was so good. But it was such a perfect line, because
it was a great line. It wasn't a bad line, but it just, the tone at which it came out was just so like,
It also reminded me of
so,
like,
it's like
I
my
have-
mom was
I
saying
was-
that. Like, my grandmother was like, "How do you grow food?"
How do you grow food? Also, I have a scene too that has that Riker thing where he just asks a bunch of random questions, and it was the same thing. Like, how do you grow food? Would you take a walk in the park?
the thing about it that was good was that it was very like, it was like a parent asking a child who thinks they're prepared for something.
Right, yeah.
Like, all right, the kid is like, let's go to the park. And you're like, where's your coat? Where's your shoes? Where's your gloves? The dog is in the other room. Come on, kid.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it was just reminding her, like, hey, dummy, yes, you know how to light things on fire. Great. But like, this is a human world. So how do you grow food? How do crops work? Magnets? Do you understand them? Come on.
Yeah, that's good.
That was great.
That's good. Cool. All right, let's do some shout outs, then we'll get some XP, and then we'll go do that post show. Zeke, why don't you start us off as usual with some shout outs?
You betcha. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for watching. I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you guys here. Had some good conversations in the chat tonight. Lots of laughs. You guys were fucking on point. You were hungry for another episode like we were. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to Max, Dan, JP, and Adam every week, making this fucking awesome thing to look forward to every week. My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at or / Ezekiel_III on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I will be doing drop frames tomorrow, where we will be revealing the audience voted game of the year, I believe, and we'll be talking lots of Tarkov, I'm sure, tomorrow. And then after that, I will be continuing and hopefully completing my run of Fran Bow after drop frames. And then on Thursday, it's back. I've never done a second annual something before, but this is the second annual CD-ROM-a-thon. And boy, do I have some treats. I got four things in the mail. And one of them you're going to really like, Adam. I've got Dark Seed These are all like new
Oh,
or brand
fuck
or
yeah.
near
Is that
mint.
the,
Dark Seed and
is that the HR
Demoniac.
Giger video game?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
But that's not the one you're
it's
gonna
so
really
bad.
like. I've got this Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. I just bought this Mad Dog McCree. But this one, I got this mint brand new, and it cost me a little bit of money. But Dune.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
I got the Dune
Oh,
from
dude,
1993 Virgin Games.
I will tune the
dude,
fuck
so-
in for that.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
So I think
looks
that might
great.
be. I'm not sure what to start with, but I'm thinking I need to start with Dune on Thursday, but I'm not positive yet. But
Nice,
that's what's
dude.
coming
I'm
up.
excited.
The
That's really cool.
Ramathon noon on Thursday.
Why are my lights turning on?
Yeah.
What the hell?
What the hell's going on?
Oh, wait a minute.
Because it's
Controller's
dance
in my
time.
pocket. That's why. There we go. All right. That was very confusing as I looked around and they kept turning on.
It's Bahath.
Yeah, that was just in my pocket. It was in my chair. Max, do some shout outs for us. Let everyone know when you're going to be playing God of War.
God damn it. Hi, I'm GassyMexican. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. There was a lot of good moments on this show. I'm excited to, I say that a lot, but this show in particular, there's a lot of stuff I feel like to kind of chew through and give reasonings for why we did whatever. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. That's I'm not playing God of War after this, but I am going to be streaming. Going to do some beer pong stuff for funsies with some friends here in Austin. And I've set up some production stuff with different cameras to try to make it neat and good quality on. So if you want to check it out afterwards, go for it. But if not, find me on the internet. GassyMexican on everything. Thanks, of course, y'all for watching and the cast and Adam for doing their thing. That's all I got. No God of War.
All right. We look forward to when you play God of War. Dan, do some shout outs for us, please.
I'm DansGaming, a variety streamer on Twitch. I'm currently playing through Monster Hunter to get ready for Iceborne, which comes out in like a couple days, which I'm excited for. It's supposed to be really good. So I'll be playing that. Another super fun episode. I love when Ramus gets to like do cool things, and today was a really cool episode. And I cannot wait to continue this next week.
Me as well. Adam, do some shout outs
That's me.
for us, and then we'll do some XP.
I would love to. I have, in the tradition of our people, I have created a Q&A thread on the community website. I put that in chat. I'll do that again. Go and check it out. Leave us comments or questions about the episode. I'll keep an eye on it and answer them for you. And then in the meantime, between now and the next episode, you can find me on Twitter at skinnyghost or twitch.tv/Adam Coble. And I'll be right back here on Saturday morning for Far Verona. So come back for that. Let's do experience. Or do you want to shout out? Then we do experience.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got to do shout. I forgot about that. New
Yeah, you do yours and then we'll do
Still
XP.
haven't gotten used to shout outs. It's been,
Where do we find you?
yeah. You can find me right here. Even though, actually, I mean, I guess it makes sense because we're streaming on everyone's channel. You can find me over at
multiple channels,
twitch.tv/itmeJP. Tomorrow we got Drop Frames, like Zeke was saying. Stackriel, I think, is going to be joining us. We'll be talking about Tarkov and everything else that we haven't talked about in months since we've done a normal show. And then tomorrow night we've got Jesse Cox's Star Wars show with Anna Prosser, Stribbin, Bike Man, and Pocket. That'll be around 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, much like Dan, maybe even playing together with Dan. We might be playing some Iceborne together. As that launches on Thursday at like noon or something. It's a weird launch. I think it's when Steam updates, but yeah, that'll be on Thursday. Then we'll be playing that all the way through. Probably till next Tuesday when we see you again for Court of Swords. So hope to see you guys there for that. Let's do some XP, Adam.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's check in on these goals. I think we got a lot of, I mean, it's the beginning of a new arc, so there's lots of like start working on stuff, but there are a few that I think we might have done. So Ramus, let's see. You definitely worked on convincing Mihari that harmony is the future. You saw some like proselytizing and some good speaking going on that I think will lead you into pursuit of that on your own behalf. But I think for right now, it's just the convincing Mihari working on one. So that should be 50 times 15, which is 750, I think.
That's 750.
Cool. All right. Berg. Let's see. You worked on exploring a deeper meaning behind the vision. And then Dan, does Ramus feel consoled? Did Berg
Yes,
that scene at the
definitely.
beginning? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
All right. So max, that means 2,800 plus let's see, 2,800 plus 750. So 3,550 for you, Max. 3,550. And then you'll need a new goal for me for that third one. And then Mihari. What's funny is everybody else talked about the axe, but you didn't really get too much of a chance to learn about it, but you worked on it. There was a conversation about how it works. So that's worked on for you. You talked to 10 Pillars about getting help learning what you forgot.
I feel like that one has to be rewritten because 10 Pillars is like, yeah, I can't help you on that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you worked on it, realized that it wasn't gonna work in this way, but now you can write a new goal that's like pursue another direction. And then I think you worked on, well, you haven't had a chance yet, but you will have now because of Ramus's sacrifice. You'll have a chance in the next episode to work with Bahath to forgive and honor the past. Cool. So for Mihari, I think it is 2 750s, right? 2 working ons.
Yeah.
So 1,500 for you. Okay. And then give me a new one for that middle one whenever you're ready. And then for 10 Pillars of Gold, so I think you worked on returning to Gravedirt with a newly sold unnamed because however we want to phrase that, Gravedirt and unnamed will eventually butt heads and they will be returned. So it sounded like you were working on just kind of angling in on that one. You worked on convincing Bahath that your paths are aligned. And you worked on finding out something new. So you didn't do, well, actually, no, you succeeded at finding something new about the axe. You learned an actual like detail about it. So yeah. So 1 complete and 2 working on puts you at 2,800 plus 1,500. So 4,300 for you.
Nice.
I'm not, it's only, wait, hold on.
Was it only
level 14? That's right. It's 700. Yeah, that's right. So take 1,000 off of, no, not 1,000. Take 100 off of that because it's 2 of them lose 50. So it's 4,200.
But does the other one go down to the 2,800?
It does. Let me get the new calculation. You're 14? Not by much. Yeah. Okay, let me recalculate this. So it's 2,500 plus 1,400. So 39 instead of 43. Okay. There you go.
3,900. Yep.
Cool. So okay. Maharib, 10 Pillars, and Berg. If you have a goal right now that you want to do, let me know. Otherwise, we'll wait and you can just tell me between episodes.
I think my goal will be replacing what I had before. Will now be find out if what Ramus said about my past is true.
Okay.
So still in the same vein, just different path.
Yeah, because actually Ramus is a pretty good vector for like finding more stuff. Because that legend lore spell is both the most fun and the most annoying spell in the game because it's super fun because it's an invitation for me to just be like lore dump, but it's also like fuck, I have to come up with lore for this stuff. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Here we go. So Ramus certainly does seem to be a good angle on that, but then trying to figure out what the deal is and if that's true, then that's worthwhile. Cool. All right. I think that's it, everybody. Berg and 10 Pillars will figure out your third goals at some point between now and the next episode, and that's it.
Cool.
That's all I
Sounds good. All right, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for watching Court of Swords this week. We'll be back next Tuesday, I believe, with another episode, 6 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday. Hope to see you guys there as well. We're out. We're going to do that post show. If you want to watch it, it's over at patreon.com/roleplay. It'll be posted probably within the hour because we have to record it, and then we got to upload and all that stuff. So we will see you guys then. Yeah. And if not, we'll see you next week. We're out. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody.